All right, let's jump right into it today. We're going deep on Henry V.
Henry V.
That's right.
A big one.
A big one. Huge. Um, but, I think a lot of times when we think about figures from history,
Right?
we think of, like a play or a movie or a book or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it could be tough to
Yeah.
sort of separate.
To sift through
Yeah, yeah.
separate fact from fiction.
Exactly. And that's, I think, what's so fascinating about
Mm.
this new biography by Dan Jones on Henry V.
Right, and that's what we're using as the source material for this deep dive.
Exactly. We've got this fantastic interview with him. You sent that over to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was so interesting. And
He's a great storyteller,
he is.
a good historian,
Yeah.
and very thorough.
Yeah. And I thought it was so interesting. One of the things that he really sort of pushes back on
Uh-huh.
is that image of, young Prince Hal as this, like, carousing.
Russell Prince.
Yeah, like partying all the time. And
Yeah, Shakespeare's version.
Yeah.
That's really where that comes from.
totally. And he's like, well, Shakespeare,
He had
took
to.
some liberties,
Yeah.
to make a good story. And
He needed a good character arc.
he did. He did.
You can't have a hero who is always a hero.
Right.
You got to have him go down and then come up.
And then come up. Yeah. And I think it's
A redemption story.
totally.
Oh,
Totally.
right.
Yeah. But so I think it's really interesting. Jones is basically like, that's not really
Yeah.
what was going on.
Based on the evidence.
Yeah. And he was really already
Yeah.
kind of this strategic mind from.
Engrossed in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warfare and war and politics from a young age. Like he mentions in the book, and Jones talks about this in the interview too, this letter that
From when he was 15.
Henry wrote when he was 15 years old to his father.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he's already talking about, leading troops and negotiating ransoms.
And ransoms, like, this
Right.
payment for soldiers and stuff.
Burning down villages.
Burning villages.
It's stuff of
This is not,
medieval warfare.
yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah. So, and that just speaks to sort of the environment he grew up in, right?
Absolutely.
Like this
The
was
100 Years' War.
the 100 Years War
Right.
was raging
Yeah.
during his entire lifetime.
Yeah, and he was born into it.
He was born into it.
I mean, to think that, he's born into this world where this war has already been going on for
Almost 100 years by then.
almost 100 years by then. So
Right.
so I think maybe for some people it might be helpful just to sort of recap like what
A refresher.
yeah, what was this war all about?
Right. So the 100 Years' War is kind of a misnomer. It wasn't a continuous war that lasted for 100 years, but it was a series of conflicts between England and France,
Gotcha.
stemming from disputed claims to the French throne.
Okay, so it's about the throne.
Yeah, it goes back to
Okay.
Edward III in the 1300s.
Right, who thought he was the rightful
Right.
heir to the French throne.
Exactly.
Okay, so this isn't like just some like
Yeah.
border skirmish.
No, this is like
This is like, dynastic.
Yeah.
This is huge.
a struggle for power,
Yeah, wow.
control of France.
Wow.
Yeah.
So no wonder it dragged on for so long. I mean, this is
It went back and forth
yeah.
for generations.
And so, by the time we get to Henry V,
Right.
this war's become so ingrained in English identity.
Oh, yeah.
It's about national pride at this point.
National pride. It's about proving English dominance.
Right. And so, I mean, Henry inherits this war,
He does.
but he also inherits
yeah.
a divided France.
A divided France.
Right. They're in the middle of their own civil war,
Uh-huh.
which must have seemed like
A golden opportunity.
a real opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, it weakened them.
Yeah.
Created a strategic opening.
Yeah. And it seems like he was
Well, he was ready.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had the
He'd been preparing for this his whole life, military experience,
the political understanding.
political savvy, that burning conviction in his right to the French throne. I mean,
Yeah.
it all culminated.
It all comes to a head
Yeah.
in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that leads us to probably,
Agincourt.
the
Yeah.
most famous battle in English history.
One of them,
One of them, for sure.
the Battle of Agincourt.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
set the scene for us. What are
Yeah.
we talking about?
So picture this.
Okay.
A depleted English army, exhausted from marching and campaigning.
Okay.
Far from home, they're facing a much larger French force on their home turf.
Okay.
I mean, it seemed like an impossible situation.
Right. I mean, talk about being
outnumbered and outmatched.
Yeah, like the underdog
Yeah.
in this situation.
Big time.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, they were up against it. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think they were able to pull off
It is.
what's considered,
One of the most stunning.
one of the greatest military victories
Yeah, military victories.
in history
That's
against all odds.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just
It wasn't just luck.
dumb luck, right?
No, there was a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, Agincourt wasn't just some fluke.
Right.
Like it was.
No, it was
Like what was it about Henry?
It was a testament to his strategic brilliance.
Okay.
His ability to adapt to the situation.
Yeah.
And his deep understanding of both his own army and the enemy's weaknesses.
So how did he do it?
Okay.
Like what were some of the key things that he did?
Well, first of all, he chose the battlefield carefully. He positioned his army between these dense woodlands on either side,
Okay.
which kind of forced the French knights into this narrow, muddy field.
Gotcha.
And what that did was it really negated the French advantage in numbers and heavy cavalry.
So he's using the terrain.
Using the terrain to his advantage.
Yeah, to kind of
It's like a medieval version of a bottleneck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so you're funneling them.
Yeah, you're funneling them into this. Yeah,
into this space. Okay.
Okay.
So that's.
And then you've got the English longbowmen.
Oh yeah, I mean those guys were deadly.
Oh, they were positioned on the flanks.
Yeah.
And they just rained down this
Yeah.
devastating barrage of arrows.
Yeah.
And the French knights, who are all weighed down by their heavy armor,
Yeah.
they're easy targets in this confined space.
Yeah, totally. So it's like brilliant use of terrain. Deadly archers. I mean, what else?
Discipline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Henry V was known for maintaining really strict discipline within his army.
Gotcha.
Even when they were exhausted and outnumbered, the English troops, they held their formation.
Okay.
And that proved crucial against the more chaotic French charges.
Yeah, it's amazing how.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about.
Yeah.
All the things that
all of the factors
go into winning a battle, and
Yeah.
something like discipline can have.
They make all the difference.
Yeah. Such a huge impact.
Right.
I think it's important. We can't. We're talking about Agincourt,
Right.
And it was this incredible victory for Henry.
But
But we also have to talk about some of the
controversial
aspects.
Yeah.
Of the battle. Jones mentions the order to kill the French prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that's the tough one.
that's a tough one to
Yeah.
kind of reconcile,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, we know today that killing prisoners of war
Yeah.
is a it's considered a war crime.
It's a war crime. Yeah.
But then on the other hand,
Yeah.
we're talking about medieval warfare, and it was a
different time.
different time. And
With a different set of rules, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, we have to try to understand it in that context.
Yeah.
What does Jones say about that? Like,
He suggests that Henry made the decision out of necessity.
okay.
He believed that another wave of French troops was coming,
Okay.
and he was really worried that his men would be overwhelmed
Yeah.
if they had to guard the prisoners.
Oh, so it was a really
Yeah.
brutal decision.
But a brutal decision, but one made
Yeah.
in the heat of battle
Yeah.
with imperfect information.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you think about, the weight of leadership and,
Absolutely.
impossible choices.
The choices that you have to make sometimes. Yeah.
that you have to make.
It's really
It's easy for us to judge from our perspective, centuries later.
Yeah.
But you got to try to put yourself in his shoes.
Yeah, totally.
On that battlefield.
Yeah. And I think
And realize that history is rarely
black and white.
black and white. There's a lot of shades of gray.
Yeah. And I think that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so
So
Agincourt was
decisive victory.
decisive victory for Henry. I mean, what happens next?
Well, his return to England
Okay.
was nothing short of spectacular.
I love hearing about these like the sort of
Aftermath.
yeah.
The pageantry.
Yeah.
The ceremony.
Yeah.
It was a carefully orchestrated event.
Okay.
Designed to really solidify his image and power. So what did he do? Like, give me the details.
Okay, think parades,
Okay.
pageantry,
Ooh.
cheering crowds.
Yeah.
I mean, a hero's welcome.
Fit for a king.
Fit for a king.
Yeah, yeah.
They pulled out all the stops.
I bet. I mean, I can just imagine, like,
Yeah.
the banners and the
Trumpets.
and like the whole kingdom just
Yeah, erupting in celebration.
erupting in celebration. I mean, that must have been quite a.
It was. It was quite a sight, and Henry used it brilliantly
Okay.
to shape public perception.
Okay.
Instead of basking in personal glory.
Right.
He presented himself as this humble instrument of God.
Wow.
Reflecting praise,
Yeah.
directing it heavenward.
That's savvy.
It was. It was a very smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real.
Political maneuvering.
Yeah. Political maneuvering. Like, he understood
Oh, yeah.
the power of image.
The power of image, the power of symbolism. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't just about winning a war.
Right.
This was about securing his legacy,
Yeah.
cementing his authority as a divinely appointed king.
And it worked. Right. I mean, people.
It worked. They loved him.
Yeah.
They saw him as this righteous king
Yeah.
chosen by God.
Yeah. And it's a reminder that power isn't just about.
No,
Brute
how
force.
it's just about brute force. It's about controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
It's about
Shaping the story.
shaping the story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. And he really he got that. He understood that.
He understood that.
Yeah. And so speaking of
Yeah.
You know,
Perception.
perception and narrative and stuff, I mean, one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on
Hmm.
was Henry's religious beliefs.
Oh, right.
He was
A devout man.
clearly a devout man,
Yeah.
but he also used religion to his advantage, didn't he?
Yes, and I think that's one of the most fascinating things about him.
Yeah.
He was deeply religious.
Yeah.
He truly believed
Yeah.
that God was guiding his actions.
Right.
But he also understood how to leverage
Yeah.
religious sentiment to inspire his troops and legitimize his rule.
Yeah, it's such a
Yeah.
complex and delicate balance,
It is.
right? Like, was he
Yeah.
genuinely pious,
Right.
or was he exploiting religion for political gain?
Yeah. Or was it a bit of both?
Or
Was it both?
it's
Yeah.
it's hard to say.
Yeah. It's tough to know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes him such
Yeah,
a
it's
compelling figure, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's that.
that enigma,
Yeah.
the contradictions.
Yeah, he was a man of contradiction.
Yeah, this warrior king
Right.
who prayed fervently, this ruthless strategist
Yeah.
who saw himself as a servant of God.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
it's almost Shakespearean, right?
Yes.
And
he dies so young.
he dies young, yeah,
Yeah.
in his mid-30s.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder,
It does.
like, what might have been
Yeah, what if?
if he
What if he had lived long?
lived longer. Yeah,
Would he have continued his conquests in France?
right.
Would he have achieved his ambition of leading a crusade to Jerusalem?
I mean, these are big questions.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jones
Yeah.
speculates that Henry might have focused on
Consolidating his power
consolidating his power in France,
in France.
maybe even dividing the country
Yeah.
before kind of shifting his attention
Yeah. Turning eastward
to the east. Yeah,
to the east.
that's. I mean, it's crazy to think about. Like,
It is that alternate timeline,
yeah,
you know?
Henry V, the conqueror of France, leading
Leading a united Christian army
Yeah.
against the Ottomans.
against the Ottomans. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have completely reshaped
It could have.
the map.
Yeah, the geopolitical landscape of Europe would be totally different,
Yeah.
potentially.
It's incredible
Yeah.
to think about. But as you said
Yeah.
earlier, I mean, history is full of these.
Tantalizing what ifs.
Yeah, we can analyze,
Yeah.
speculate.
We can speculate, but we'll never really know.
We'll never know
Huh?
for sure. I mean, I think what we can do though
Yeah, we can do
is try to
is try to
learn from the past
learn from the past,
and
both his victories and his failures.
Yeah.
Offer us this glimpse into
Yeah.
the nature of leadership,
yeah.
ambition, and the complexities of human nature.
Yeah, he was a
He was a product of his time.
man of his time. Yeah.
Yeah, shaped by the
Yeah.
brutal realities of medieval warfare.
Yeah, but he was also. I mean, he was a
But he was also
visionary leader
a visionary leader
in many ways
Hmm.
who left
as an indelible mark.
a real
Yeah,
lasting impact.
on history.
Yeah, on history. Yeah, and that's
That's what makes him so
makes him so
compelling.
compelling to
just study, to think about.
Study, to think about, to to wrestle with.
To wrestle with, yeah.
I mean, so
yeah.
as we're kind of wrapping up,
as we wrap up
this deep dive
Yeah.
into the life
into the life of Henry V.
of Henry V.
Right.
You know, we're left with more than just these historical facts and dates, right?
It's more than just
we're left with
dates and battles.
Yeah, we're left with questions and reflections.
Yeah.
And a deeper understanding, I think, of
a deeper
the forces that shape our world.
That shape our world.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's one of the
things we hope you take away from this episode is that history is not just this dusty, irrelevant subject.
Right.
It's a living, breathing tapestry woven from the choices, actions, and consequences of individuals like Henry V.
Right. And I think,
by studying those individuals, their triumphs and their failures, we can gain insights.
We can gain real insights
into ourselves, our societies, and the challenges we face today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
So we encourage you to continue exploring the life of Henry V.
Yeah.
Read Dan Jones's book. Delve into the primary sources.
Yeah.
And draw your own conclusions.
Yeah.
Because
history is not a passive subject.
No.
It's an invitation to engage.
Yeah, to engage. To question.
And to discover.
Yeah. And who knows? You might uncover something.
Who knows? You might uncover something that changes
your whole perspective.
Your whole perspective.
On this fascinating and complex king.
Yeah, I mean that's a good note to end on, I think.
I think so.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining
us on this deep dive. Until next time.
Keep exploring.
You know, we've talked about the battles and the politics,
right,
and the religion, but I think one of the things that I just keep coming back to with Henry V is how well he understood the importance of symbolism and spectacle.
Absolutely.
Like he knew how to
He was a showman. Yeah, he knew how to put on a show.
He knew how to play to the crowd.
Yeah, and remember, this was a society.
This was a society
that was
deeply rooted in symbolism and ritual.
Yeah.
And he knew
how to tap into that.
Yeah, so like his return to England after Agincourt.
Right.
I mean, this wasn't just a
victory parade. This was it was
a performance.
A carefully orchestrated performance.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that stand out to you?
Well, imagine the scene.
Okay.
Right? Henry returning from this incredible victory.
Mm-hmm.
The underdog who had defied all odds.
Yeah.
I mean, the temptation to just revel in personal glory. It must have been immense.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
Yeah.
He chooses to present himself as this humble instrument of God.
Wow.
Deflecting praise, directing it heavenward. I mean, what a powerful...
It was a powerful message to send.
I mean, he's basically saying, like, look, this isn't about me.
This is about God.
This is about God. This is,
God's will.
God's will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
reinforced that idea of divine right.
Yeah.
It solidified his authority as a king chosen by God.
Right, and it's
not just about
the war at that point.
No, it's about so much more.
Yeah.
It's about
his legacy.
Shaping his legacy, exactly.
And it
worked.
It worked.
Will people embrace this image of him as a righteous king, a warrior guided by God's will?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it just shows it speaks to this idea that
power's
isn't just about brute force.
It's also about
perception.
It's about shaping the narrative.
It's about controlling the story.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, and he just
he understood that at a very deep level,
at a fundamental level.
Yeah.
So we have this
king,
this fascinating figure,
a brilliant military strategist, master of public image, deeply religious,
and then he dies young,
in his mid-30s. Yeah, I mean it's almost like this giant what if.
It is. It's a giant what if
hanging over history.
Hanging over history, yeah.
Like what what would have happened.
What if?
Had he
What if he had lived longer?
lived longer, yeah.
Would England have avoided the Wars of the Roses?
Yeah.
Would he have achieved his dream of leading a crusade?
I mean, it's amazing to think about.
It is.
Jones suggests that he might have really focused on
Consolidating his power. Consolidating his power in France. Maybe even.
Yeah, maybe even dividing the country.
Dividing the country.
Before turning his attention eastward.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that Henry V,
Henry V,
the conqueror of France,
leading a united Christian army against the Ottomans.
Wow.
I mean, it could have completely reshaped the map of Europe.
Totally different world.
A totally different world, yeah.
Yeah, but of course history is full of those.
Tantalizing what ifs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can analyze and we can
speculate.
But
we'll never know for sure.
No, for sure. I mean, I think what we can do is learn from the past.
Learn from the past and
I think Henry's life, both
his victories,
in his triumphs and his failures, really offers us this
a glimpse.
This glimpse
into
like the leadership, ambition,
and complexities of human nature.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a product of his time.
Man of his time.
Shaped by the
brutal
realities of medieval warfare.
Yeah.
But he was also
a visionary leader.
A visionary leader
who left
an indelible mark.
A real lasting mark.
Yeah.
On history.
So
as we wrap up this deep dive.
As we wrap up our deep dive
into Henry V.
Into the life of Henry V.
We're left with more than just
it's more than just
dates and battles,
historical facts and dates.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're left with
questions
and reflections and a deeper understanding, I think.
Yeah, a deeper understanding
of forces that shape our world. And I think that's one of the things we hope you take away from this.
From this deep dive.
Yeah. That history is not just this dusty or relevant
subject.
It's a living, breathing tapestry.
It's a living thing.
Woven from the choices, the actions, the consequences of individuals like Henry V.
Yeah, and I think by exploring these individuals, their successes and failures,
their triumphs and their failures,
we gain insights. We gain real insights
into ourselves, our societies, and the challenges we face today. I mean, it's all connected.
It is. It's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected. So we encourage you to continue this exploration.
Keep exploring of
Henry V. Yeah. Read Dan Jones's book. Delve into the primary sources.
Yeah.
Form your own conclusion.
And remember that.
Because history is not
a passive
subject.
A passive thing. Yeah.
It's an invitation to engage.
To question.
And to discover.
And who knows, you might
uncover something.
Something that changes.
That changes
your whole perspective.
Your whole perspective.
On this fascinating, complex.
King.
Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up here.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us on this
deep dive.
Yeah. Until next time.
Keep exploring.